Hello and welcome back to Valkyrie Week, where I am celebrating all things to do with my Valkyrie duology between the blade and the heart and from the earth to the shadows. All week long I've been having giveaways, I've been sharing insights into it. I've had more giveaways this week than I usually do, so make sure that you check out the link below with all the giveaways and fun stuff going on. But there's been a bunch of stuff, so please check it out. Earlier this week, I asked readers if they had any questions about Valkyrie duology, and then I said I would answer them this week, and I am. I'm answering them in this video. But I didn't get a lot of questions, and so I'm also going to answer some other questions that I get from readers that aren't just related to the Valkyrie duology, so they're just questions in general that I've been getting a lot lately that I wanted to answer. One of the reasons that I feel like I didn't get a lot of questions for the Valkyrie world is because it was not my best-selling series. It's actually, I think it's my worst-selling series. I don't know exactly why that is. I mean, there's a few reasons that I think of. One of it is when it came out was a really dark time in my life, and I was not in a good place mental health wise, and so definitely I wasn't promoting it the way that I could have been, and so I think that was part of it. Another part of it was I don't think that the fact that it was cyberpunk really translated well. Because I wasn't there promoting it and talking about it, I think that some people were expecting more of a medieval fantasy, and this is like a very much a futuristic fantasy. And then the final reason is I think just because the world is so big, and I incorporated so many different mythologies, and there's so much going on there that I think that it made the reading a little slow, which then makes people less excited about it. But I still think it's a really good book. I mean, I think that Malin is a really cool character, and I think that she has a really good story, and I was really grappling with things like fate and destiny and what that means and what free will means, and that's a big part of the books, these huge themes like that, and I that's something that I do think about and I do struggle with, and I see a lot of people who get really excited about the ideas of predestination and fate and that kind of thing. And so I really kind of explore what does that mean in these two books. And I think that they're good, and I think it really kind of answered some questions. But I think that some of the complaints that some readers might have were actually deliberate choices on mine of making it. I don't know how to explain it without giving any spoilers. Or maybe I will do spoilers more as the video goes on. But since I'm assuming a lot of people watching this won't have read it, I'm going to definitely make sure to mark spoiler tags and stuff like that. And so I'm going to try to keep the questions very unspoilery, especially in the beginning. So now let's jump into the questions that I did get for this book. So for the Valkyrie questions, one of the questions that I got was, what are your inspirations for the Valkyrie series? And it was, obviously the one that people notice the most is Nordic mythology, because that's where Valkyries come from. But that's not the only one. I've really incorporated every mythology. I liked the idea of every mythology in the whole world being true. So everyone that exists, every creature exists. And so how would that all work, and how would all that seem like? And I specifically, when I went through and I looked up, I read a ton of books on cryptids and looked up various mythologies and things like that, and then I got a map and I marked down, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just representing European or Western world monsters. I very much wanted, or mythological creatures, they're not just monsters, from all over. And so I made sure that every area of the globe is represented, and I tried to get something, and there's different ways that they're represented. I incorporated a lot of foods, a lot of mythologies, a lot of names, a lot of all of that kind of things, and for better or worse, I think that it is an incredibly vast and diverse series because of that. And it was a lot of work. I took a lot of notes, and you can even see in the back of Between the Earth and the Shadows is a massive glossary. It's it's not that massive, but considering it's I don't know, glossary is 25 pages long. So yeah, it's kind of it's kind of a lot, but I really wanted all this stuff in there, and there's tons of little Easter eggs for different mythologies, but that's only really shows up if you are kind of astute in all kinds of cryptids. I really just did. I wanted it because I didn't want it to just be so Eurocentric, I guess. I wanted it to be like America is, the United States is very much a melting pot, and I assumed that it would be the same with the cryptids, that if we're, we have immigrants from all over, we're going to have immigrant mythological beings as well. And so that's kind of the idea, because it's an alternate Earth that's just like ours, except every mythological being is true. And then it's in the future too. So it's the year 2037, where it's very futuristic, cyberpunk kind of world. And I mean, I think that, having all these like mythological beings that can be very intelligent is probably going to help speed up technology, in this alternate Earth. I mean, I definitely took tons of inspiration from, obviously cyberpunk things. I mean, I love Blade Runner. It's like one of my favorite movies. And I really love the works of Ridley Scott in general. And so this was before I really, like, in my newest book, I really explore, like, why do I love Ridley Scott? And, like, what about his works draws me to them so much? But this one I kind of touched on it and was just drawing to and it's very much about, like, what is free will? What is sentience? What is life? And so I really tried to use this kind of, like, cyberpunk, moody, gritty, huge world to answer those questions. And I mean, there's no really good answer for those questions, but it is fun to explore them. And so that's what those books do. Another question was, would I consider doing artwork like I've done for some of my other books for the characters for these ones? Because I've drawn, if you're not familiar, here is some of I drew some of the Trill and characters in the style of Disney Princess, and I drew some of, like, this one right here is for a work in progress right now for something that'll be in the future. And so these are some of the characters that I've drawn. I sometimes do it for fun. Sometimes I do it just to share with readers how they do it. I took a bunch of tutorials on how to draw, like, Disney characters. And so that's something that it's an easy enough style, I feel like, for me to do. I don't know. I struggle to, like, draw things on my own. I have to, like, make it look like something else. I can't just make something out of my head. I don't know. Anyway, that's like a whole separate tangent. I haven't done it for the Valkyrie series. I might. I think it would be kind of fun, especially because it is this gritty cyberpunk world, and then, drawing Malin and Una and Quinn and stuff like Disney princesses, I think would be fun. But if actually the artwork that I really like, what I would love to see is a Valkyrie graphic novel, and I would really love to see the art in the style of Dan Mumford. I'm just going to show you, like, a screenshot of his website real quick. There it is, and you should go check it out, because I don't want to like illegally share his art, but I want you guys to check out his stuff because it is so cool. And that's exactly like how I picture Malin's world, like exactly, that is what I would see a comic book styled that way. And I think it would be gorgeous, and I think it would help solve the problems I have with, because I spend all this time, like, explaining and introducing, but if you can just see it and I don't have to constantly describe new creatures, I think that it would work really good as a graphic novel for sure. But probably I don't think, because not many people have read it yet. If you guys are, like, definitely go and check it out and read it and get hype, and maybe we can make it happen. But I'll wait and see how excited readers get. But yeah, I would love something like that. I got another question, which was, will I be returning to the world of Valkyrie again? They also said that it seemed like the end of the book was setting up to be, it could be the beginning of a different series, the ending of the second book, and if I had plans for more. I kind of did when I was originally writing it. I did originally kind of, like, have plans, but there's two reasons why I don't think I'll be returning to the world. And the first one is what I said earlier, is that these two books didn't sell very well, and so it's very hard for me to, like, think, okay, I'm going to return to this world where readers don't really want to hang out, when there's other worlds that readers definitely do want to hang out, that maybe I would explore those first, kind of thing. Also, the other reason why I won't, it was very difficult to write. It was very time consuming, a ton of research, a ton of stuff, and it was just a very slow writing process, again, because I think I was describing so much, and I was trying to make it, like, not a constant info dump, and all of that is difficult to constantly be, like, giving tons of information in a non-info dumpy way, and so yeah, it wasn't a lot of fun to write. I mean, and it was also, like, I was just trying to be so cautious about all of that. But with all that said, yes, I did write the ending where I had set it up where if it was, like, really, if people really enjoyed it, then I could return to the world and have Malin go on and do different kind of work. I mean, I don't want to spoil too much, but it was there. Yeah, they had ideas about stuff that could happen. It would be more of a monster of a week kind of series at that point, where like she helps different creatures like each week kind of thing, but each book. But that again, like, yeah, the sales just weren't really there, and it was really hard. And I think that the cyberpunk was also a difficult element for me to incorporate. Again, I think cyberpunk is something that's really like a really visual aesthetic, and definitely like that's not to say there's not like good cyberpunk novels or things like that. But I think that it was just something that for me that I just struggled with balancing a world that was very, very visual and having it just be a written medium. I think I kind of tied my hands a bit with that. Doing it again where I'm focusing like on all the negative aspects of my books. I'm so good at telling you like all the reasons why you shouldn't like my books, but there is good stuff in there. It was really important to me to have Malin be a bisexual who's open, and so she is, and she has love interests of both genders. I mean, I think there's more than she doesn't explore attraction to non-binary, but I would say that she was open to it. It's just that's not something that's explored in this particular series. But there's definitely a lot of mythological creatures that who are non-binary and follow different places on the spectrum. I don't think that she really encountered them in the book, and that wasn't anything that I did deliberately or anything. It just was how I didn't make a conscious effort for that way. If I were to write the book now, I would make a conscious effort to include more non-binary characters and cryptids, but I didn't. So I mean, that's just I didn't. Yeah, it just didn't happen. But anyway, so her bisexual representation was important to me. But I do think that in some ways that I struggled with the romance a bit, and I think that it was difficult for me to make a decision about how I wanted her to go, and I think I was a little bit too restrained with the romance because I felt like I didn't want to say, well, because if she ends up, because she's torn between her ex-girlfriend Quinn and this new guy Asher, and I felt like if she chooses one, then it's going to be like choosing a sexuality. And I think that my struggle is actually with writing it is a struggle that a lot of people in bisexual relationships can feel, because it's like if you're with a man, then if you're a woman you're with a man, then you're straight, and if you're a woman and you're with a woman you're a lesbian, and that's it. And that's kind of that's not how it works. And I got a little bit too in my head for that. And again, I'm doing the thing where we're talking about like like the bad stuff, but I think that's why the romance isn't as forefront as I originally intended or envisioned it to be. I think definitely in this one, the world is the forefront. I think that Malin's closest relationship is actually Una. Her and her best friend Una are incredibly tight, and I think that friendship and relationship is really the relationship highlight of the book. And so yeah, she does have a lot of complicated, intense relationships, and I loved exploring them. Her relationship with her mother, with Samuel, even with Bowie, with Sloane. There's a lot of good stuff in there that I really, really liked. And I really love the character of Valeska, who comes in the second book. I think that she is just a total badass, and I love her. And I think that, people will love her too. Valeska's great. So that was about it for questions that I had about the Valkyrie in particular. But now I'm going to answer a couple questions that I've been seeing a lot lately that are just about my books in general. One of the main questions that I see a lot is, how do I get an autographed copy of any of your books? Right now I'm just doing giveaways, but again, like I'm not doing like a ton, so every person can get one. But me and my husband are working on setting up a store where I'll be able to where I will be selling signed books and other book merchandise. It's been a little slow going because I'm really paranoid and overly cautious that I make sure if I'm taking money from people that it's all going okay and stuff like that kind of thing. So that is something that I'm planning on doing in the future. Definitely I'm hoping, fingers crossed, within the next month. But I don't have an exact date yet because we're just kind of working on it, and it's just how long it takes sometimes. So yeah. That's that answer there. A question that I also feel like I get a lot is, how do I get your books? Where do I get your books? And because I am hybrid, so some of my books are the publisher, which means that they're fairly easy to find at any bookstore, and then others are self-published, which are a little bit trickier to find in certain places. But I do have links all on my website for hawkingbooks.com. My books are available in ebooks in basically every country in English. So you can get my books if you go to the whatever. I mean, it's not just on Amazon, but I know for sure that every country's Amazon basically carries my books. And so if you can't find them from other means, I always suggest that. You can also talk to your local library. Librarians are really can be really good about ordering books and stuff like that. And I think that all my self-published books I try to make really cheap for libraries to make it easier for them to get. So just talk to your local library and they should be able to get them. And that also, that kind of stuff still helps me. So don't like, I've heard people talk about it. Well, libraries are great. Libraries are wonderful. They're absolutely invaluable resources. And so use libraries. And if it's expensive to get a book one way, talk to your library and maybe they'll be able to get it from a different library. There's other stuff they can do, you know. So that is my suggestion. Because especially with the self-published, the paperback costs, I really can't get down because they're published on demand. And so they're basically, whatever the paperback is, I'm only making like a little bit of money on top of that. And most of that is just like at cost. Like I don't add that much up. And so the prices vary based on the page length is with that. But yes, so you can get all of my books. I know I want to tell people to shop at independent bookstores, and I definitely do want you to, but you'll really need to talk to your local bookseller about their ability to get them. I do think that most local booksellers will be able to get any of my books, but you just need to talk to the store, the staff there. They're not going to be on the shelf. And then again, I'm also going to hopefully be having a store up soon where you'll be able to buy, you know, signed books and things like that. Oh, and another question I've been getting, and I don't have it right now. I don't know. I just did it. But is Bestow the Darkness going to be out in paperback? It is out in paperback now. So Bestow the Darkness, which is my new dark gothic baby, and we're going to be talking about it more next week. But I'm letting you all know that Bestow the Darkness is out, available in paperback now. I've got links all over. Go to hawkingbooks.com, and it's going to be the first book there, and they'll take you there, and you can get it. It's also available for free through Kindle Unlimited. So that's another thing that you can check out with Bestow the Darkness. So I think those are about all the questions that I had today that I was going to answer. I want to thank you guys all for asking questions and for your participation this week. And especially, like, I know, because again, it isn't everyone's, like, favorite series. So it's been cool seeing people, like, check it out and find out more about it. And I appreciate all of your curiosity about it. I mean, it is, I think, a really good series. And it's just 2 books, but they're 2 big books. And you get this huge world. And it's, you know, a load of fun. It is still Valkyrie week. I have 4 giveaways going on this week, so make sure that you check them out. I got links below for everything. I do have a few more things going on this weekend. The giveaways are still going on. And then next week I will be back, and it is going to be Bestow the Darkness week. And it's going to be different. It's going to be a little different next week. There's going to be a lot more giveaways, a lot more stuff, because it's a newer book, so you'll find out. But there's going to be different stuff next week, and it's going to be an interesting week. Yeah, for sure. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, stay safe, be kind, and happy reading. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe.